Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tech and Sci with an Asian Guy. I am Sea Dogs. I'm going to take you through a couple chess.com games of mine. So right now I'm working on climbing up the rating ladder from the early 600s, and my goal is to get to about 1,000 to 1,200 in the rating scheme. So on this particular account, while in general I have played about 2,500 games online, this account just happens to have about 244 rapid games as of today, because I sustained early heavy losses in the learning process as a new player to chess. I want to take you through some of these, climbing up the ladder to get to where I want to be. My progression so far after playing those 1,500 early games on chess.com was then to move to chess clubs, and then ultimately this year playing in the Michigan Amateur Open June 10th and 11th of 2022 this year. And let's go ahead and get into it. Now, in this first game, I'm rated about 616 versus 536. I'm playing as the black pieces, and my opponent is white, starting with the move e4. And I respond with e5 as well. I'm not an e4, e5 player, but I'm going to kind of roll with the punches here. Knight jumps in, obviously attacking my initial pawn that I put in the center. I defend it. Opponent checks. I block with the knight. Opponent decides as white, quick kingside castle here. Now I kind of move in and re-attack that pawn. It's currently not defended. Opponent defends, move out the bishop. Opponent develops the knight. Also short castle. Usually this is a very good strategy so the opponent doesn't start pushing pawns your way, and makes for a very balanced game, and your goal is to kind of set up an attack either on the queen side here, kind of go for the longer expansion ideas. Maybe since you've unpinned the knight here, now the knight is free to move, kick out the bishop, and so forth. Kind of do a longer game strategy over here. Now, in this particular case, opponent most likely plays a3 here to control the jumping of my knight. They don't want me to kind of start going this way and putting a lot of pieces at risk here, so they want to control what spaces my knight ultimately goes to, which in their preference standpoint would be the center. I want to kick out the bishop here since the knight is unpinned. Bishop moves back. Kind of start that slow expansion here. I want to get... The idea here was not to trap the bishop, but to kind of slowly expand while keeping my pawns defended on this side. Move my bishop out, kind of to a central location where it won't get kicked out easily. Opponent takes. Take. Bishop develops. Knight moves out. I kind of have a long-term strategy here because it's take, 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 and now I defend that knight over here, which was previously under attack. Now, interestingly, I'm not going for the trade here. My goal is to attack that same square right there. King moves. Queen can't really do that much about it. They're a little bit too late, and we go for the mate. Now, this was also a 30-minute game, so this is kind of, I'm just getting my feet wet in the chess.com rating climb, as well as in the streaming aspect here. So I got the second game loaded up, ready to go here. This was a good win by black on my side. And so what I want to show here too, additionally, are not, I don't want to show all of my wins. I'm going to show some losses too. I may not show you every game, but I want to show you ones with a little bit of things to learn from too. You can learn from my mistakes just as easily as you can learn from my wins. And sometimes my losses are exciting too. So opponent is playing with the white pieces, begins with d4. So I'm very familiar with the white opening here. So I also approach here with black as d5. Opponent is preparing to put their bishop out here, fianchetto that bishop most likely. Keep room for their knight to develop here. I'm kind of just defending a little bit. I didn't plan this too much. I know I'm blocking in my bishop here. Kind of just preparing for early castle. I'm going to kind of re-evaluate the position, get some new pieces into play here once I get, castled like that. Queen moves, so now I know the goal here for white. What they're really looking for is for me to not see the knight jump to g5. That g5 square cannot be currently targeted because my knight's in the way, blocking that bishop in. So I decide next to move my knight to an outpost square here because take. It's an even trade for them. Opponent takes in the center, which is also a pretty good strategy. Now they got that covered two different ways, so I'm going to kind of reinforce that knight there to keep that hopefully as a little bit of an outpost. Opponent takes, but at the expense of I have kind of opened up my rook a little bit here with the support of the pawn if it ultimately somehow gets taken. Develop my knight here, and my goal here is to recapture the pawn here and pawn here so that I'm gaining material as I develop my pieces and play where I want them. So they attack my knight. I'm going to jump out of the way and fork the queen and the pawn. The goal is to move the knight back to take the pawn with tempo because they're moving their queen out of the way, and then ultimately take back this pawn too, developing in the center, re-supporting that center. Opponent develops the bishop, misses the queen, so we're going to take, and opponent resigns here actually. So I just wanted to show you a couple of my games as I move forward and progress here. I'm going to make some mistakes. My opponents are going to maybe get the best of me sometimes, but that's okay. This is part of the learning process, the part of learning a new game, learning a complicated game, if I may, and just kind of taking it one day at a time. And that's how you do anything in life. Get smarter, get stronger, one day at a time. So thanks for joining in today. Hit like if you like, hit subscribe to see more content from me, and have a great night, everyone.